Hello everyone, I'm teacher Joanna again, and for tonight, actually I have just finished my classes and I'm taking this opportunity to actually explain and answer some of the questions of those who have sent me their private messages regarding a tagline of one of the coffee brands in the Philippines, which is this one. I actually grabbed the photo of one of those who has sent me the question. Okay, so this is actually like the tagline of the coffee brand, and it's our creamiest ngayon creamier, which is in English our creamiest. Okay, now creamier. Right. So let's focus on this line. Now, some people were asking me if this is even grammatically correct and if the meaning is actually correct as well. Their first point is that um, for the first line, they say that our creamiest is an adjective, therefore, it cannot be modified by another adjective, which is creamier. So that's one point, okay? So an adjective, let's write it, okay? An adjective cannot be modified by an adjective. And that is really true because the only word that can modify an adjective is actually an adverb. Okay, so that's the first thing that they asked me. And then the second one, okay, they say that if we're going to focus on the comparative degree, they say that the superlative form creamiest is used. Therefore, if we use the comparative degree form, it's like kind of a downgrade, and they say that it's impossible for us to actually have any point of comparison anymore if the superlative degree is used. And that's really true. Okay, so right, let's focus on that. The superlative degree, okay, the superlative degree is used. Okay, therefore, right, the comparative degree can't be used anymore since it will be like downgrade. Okay, we're gonna focus on that later on. We're gonna answer if that sentence is actually grammatically correct or not after we talk about first the degrees of comparison of adjectives. Okay, what do we mean when we say degrees of comparison? Of course, when we say degrees of comparisons, we compare, we actually describe since this is an adjective, right? So we have actually three kinds of or three degrees of comparison of adjectives. The first one, by the way, I'm sorry because I don't know exactly how to record my classes, so this is the only way I have thought of, so bear with me for the I mean uh the quality of the video, but I hope this can help. Okay, so we have the positive degree, we have the comparative, and of course we have the superlative degree. Now, the positive degree is used when we just describe one person, one thing, one place, one animal, so just one entity. And of course, comparative degree based on the root word compare, we we actually describe or compare two things, right? Or two entities, people, animals, places, the same thing. And a superlative, actually, it is used for three or more entities. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's have, for example, the word tall. Yeah, tall is an adjective that, of course, describes a person, right? Or a building. But let's focus on the person now. Let's, for example, use the word Germain, right? So we have one noun here, and of course we can use the adjective tall to describe him. Zermain is tall. Okay, so as you can see there, we use the positive degree form of adjective, which is tall, because we are just describing one person. Now, if we're gonna compare two people, for instance, I'm gonna compare Zermain and, for example, Gong Yu, right? Okay, so of course, if there are two people, we have to use the comparative degree form, which is actually the word taller. Okay, so let's compare. We can say Gong Yu is taller than Jermaine. Okay, so basically, we use the word than for the comparative degree. Okay, so taller. And then if we're gonna talk about three or more people or things like what I've said, right, or other things, we use the superlative degree form, which is tallest. Okay, for instance, let's compare Jermaine, Gongyu, and Yunbin. Okay, so let's write it. Yunbin is the tallest among the three men. Okay, so there are three men. That's why we use tallest or the tallest, which is the superlative degree form of adjective. The is usually used for the superlative degree form. Okay, right now, let's make it a bit more difficult. As you can see here, we just added ER and EST to form ER for the comparative and EST for the superlative degree. Now, what if I want to actually like use the word difficult, right? Okay, so for the word difficult, for instance, I want to talk about like grammar topic. For example, like topic, okay. The first topic is actually like the 12 tenses. Okay. And then the other topic would be about prepositions. And then the last one will be modal verbs. Okay, well, this is just based on my personal preference. Okay, so probably some of you think that tenses and all the other ones are actually like easier than the others, but it's for me. Okay, so you can have different sentences for this one, right? So, for example, if I say like the 12 tenses, okay, or the topic, okay, the 12 tenses, okay, I'm going to use it as an appositive. The topic, the 12 tenses is mm, difficult. Okay, the topic, the 12 tenses is difficult. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just describing one. But what if I'm going to compare prepositions, the topic preposition, and the topic, the 12 tenses? So what will I use? Okay, can I say difficulter? Is it okay since in the first one we just add er and then here we just add est? Can I say difficulter or difficultas? No, right? We Filipinos know that we cannot just do that. Instead, we actually like say like the topic, okay, prepositions is more difficult than the topic, the 12 tenses, right? Okay, so as you can see there, we use more difficult and not difficulter, right? And then for the superlative degree, we actually like would use modal verbs, okay, or the topic modal verbs, okay, is the most difficult among all the grammar lessons. As I've said a while ago, this is for me. For other people, modal verbs must be just easy for them, right? But it really depends on the people. So as you can see here, I use more and not er. So I say more difficult and most difficult, right? Okay, so now why do we have to use more and not er for that one? And why do we use like most and not est for the superlative degree? Okay, it has something to do with the syllable. I'm not really gonna discuss about the syllables because we all know what syllables are. Okay, so and then for those of you who cannot who don't really know about syllables, we're gonna talk about that later on. But for now, we're gonna have the shortcut of the lesson because we have to talk about a lot tonight. Okay, so for syllables, for one syllable adjectives, okay, for example, the word tall, right? We just need to add er or est to form the comparative and the superlative degree. Okay, for example, the word tall. It is just one syllable. So we just have to put like taller and tallest to form the comparative and superlative degree. Now for the second rule, if we have like two or more syllable adjectives, that time we now have to put more and most. This time it's before the adjective. Remember that. It's before the adjective, er and est are placed after the adjectives, okay? Right? But here it's before the adjective. Okay, for example, let's have the word difficult. Difficult. It has three syllables. So of course we have to use like more difficult and most difficult. Okay, so let's think of another one with just two-syllable adjective. Painful, right? So we can just say like more painful and most painful. Okay, that's the thing, right? However, right, you have to be careful because for two-syllable adjectives ending in Y, you have to be careful with this, okay? So it's two-syllable, but the ending is Y. We have to change like Y, okay, change Y into I and add ER or EST. Okay, so you have to add ER or EST for this case. Right now, what do I mean? For example, pretty. Pretty. It has two syllable, right? And it ends in Y. So if we're gonna form the comparative degree, this one should be Y, but we have to change that into I and we have to put ER. So that will be prettier, right? And for this case, of course, the same thing. We just need to change Y into I and add EST. So that's the thing. That's prettiest. Okay, so that's the basic rule. Two or more syllable, we have to use more and most. However, if it's like two syllable adjectives ending in Y, we have to use um we have to change Y to I and add ER and EST. So that's the thing. Okay, but of course, let's make it more difficult, okay? Right? For example, for the word big, right? Okay? How many syllables is the word big? It's one, right? But what is the comparative degree form? It is actually bigger. And the superlative degree form is biggest. Now I have a question. For the word bigger, as you can see, yeah, er is used since it's one syllable. However, there's one thing that is added, and that is letter G. As you can see there, okay, letter G was doubled. Okay, now, why do we need to double letter G for bigger and why not for other adjectives? Okay, there's a rule for that, and you have to remember this part. Okay, for example, for this one, okay, you have to remember that we have to follow the pattern CVC. Now, what do we mean with CVC? C stands for consonant, and we all know what consonants are: B, C, D, F, G, and others. And then we have like V for the vowels, which is like A, E, I, O, U, right? Remember that from the last letter, we count from the last, and that should be CVC. So B is C, I is V, and then B is C. If that has CVC pattern, we have to double the last letter, right? Remember, the counting starts from the last letter, okay, to the from the last letter. Okay, so you have to remember that. Okay, for instance, what am I saying? For example, if I say that short, okay, if we're gonna count it from, if we're gonna count it, it should start with letter C, with letter T. Okay, so that is a consonant. R, of course, is a vowel, and then this one is a vowel, right? So the counting starts there, right? So is it actually like CVC? No. Therefore, we don't have to add it. We just have to put like, we don't need to like double the last letter. We just have to say like short and shorter. Okay? Right? And then for the next part, we have, let's try to make to like talk about the other one. For example, like fat. Okay, of course it's CVC. So we have like to double it into fatter, right? What about cool? Okay, you have to be careful. So let's start with L. L is actually a consonant, right? And then V is a vowel, and O is a vowel, and another O is a vowel as well, right? So is it CVC pattern? No. That's why we don't really have to double it. We just have to put ER or EST to form its superlative degree. But remember that this pattern is just used for the one syllable adjective. There's another rule for the two syllable adjectives and other forms of adjectives, which we're gonna talk about in the next video, right? Once, yeah, I have the chance. Okay. Okay. And it's the same thing with forming the ing form of the verbs, okay, which we're going to talk about later on again. Okay, so that's the thing, right? We have to double it because it has consonant, vowel, consonant pattern, okay? Right? But there are actually like special I mean like special adjectives that don't really just form their adjective their comparative, superlative, and passive comparative and superlative degrees by adding more or or most or est. Okay, so we have actually like irregular adjectives. Okay, so in this case we actually like change the spelling when we form the comparative and superlative degree. Let's have, for example, good, right? For the comparative degree, we use better. We don't say gooder or more good, right? And then best. And of course, we have well, as in not sick. I am well now. I'm not sick anymore. Of course, that is also better and best. I feel better now. I am better now, right? And of course, for bad, it's worse, and the next one is worst. And the same thing with ill. Not it means I'm sick, right? Of course, it's worse. I feel ill today. I feel worse today, like that. Okay? So we have to use those things. And then for the word far, actually like it's further, okay, and farther, and also like farthest. Okay, we don't just like add er or est, we change the spelling of it, right? And of course we have like in, and then we have inner, and here that is innermost. And of course for up, the upper part of the building, upper and uppermost. Okay, so these are the special adjectives. And one more thing, okay, so or irregular adjectives. Right, one more thing. Some people would ask, okay, for the word tired, right? Tired is one word syllable adjective, right? But we don't say like I'm tireder today. Instead, we say like I am more tired today than yesterday. I am the most tired today, right? We don't really add er or est. Why? Because tired is not really an adjective, okay? It's originally a verb. It's the past participle form of the verb, right? Tire, tired, and tired. Okay, let me give you an example as a verb. For example, exercising tires me, right? If I'm gonna make it, this is every day. Okay, so that's why I use the simple present form. But if I'm gonna make it like in the past tense, it will be like exercising tired me yesterday, or made me tired. It's just the same thing. And then of course, if that is like the VPP form, let us use the present perfect tense then. Exercising has tired me yesterday. Or so has tired me out yesterday, has tired me yesterday. So you could actually like say that. Okay? Yeah, so if that's the case, okay, it means that it's not an original adjective, okay? It's originally like a verb. That's why we don't really use just the er or est form. Okay? Right. So in that case, it's the same thing with bored, right? I'm more bored today. I'm the most bored today, so we can say like that. Okay, there are other rules about that, but let's focus now on our line, our creamiest, now creamier. Okay, let's I'm going to put it down so that we can like focus on the questions, okay? Right. So for this case, our creamiest now, mhm, our creamiest now the our creamiest now creamier. Okay, the first question is an adjective cannot be modified by another adjective. And that's really true. If that is an adjective, for example, beautiful, I cannot use another adjective to actually like describe that. Okay, but why is it possible to describe this? Because remember that determiners, okay, if we add determiners to an adjective, we can convert that into a noun, right? Specifically articles, right? Yeah, we in some of my lessons on my grammar page, I actually like discussed that there are words that can be converters like prepositions and article. So this is one of them. When we say determiner, okay, there are like four kinds of determiners. So we have the articles, okay. This is just a short or a shortcut of the topic, okay. So articles like the, a, and an, right? Okay. And then of course we have like quantifiers. For quantifiers, we have two kinds. We have the definite quantifiers, which are real numbers, And of course, we have the indefinite. They are not real numbers, but they talk about numbers. Okay, what do I mean? For the definite, we have cardinal and ordinal. When we say cardinal, those are like the numbers like one, 2, 3, and ordinal, of course, like first, second, third, and so on, right? And for indefinite, so like what I've said, they are not real numbers, but they talk about numbers like several, many, much, and others. Okay, and then the last one, the third one, not yet the last. Okay, we're just yeah in letter C. So we have actually the demonstrative. The demonstrative are just this one, that, this, those, and these. Okay, so we all know the uses of that. And then the last one is what we call the possessive. So for possessive, we have different kinds as well. We have possessive nouns, which have two kinds, of course, possessive proper noun. Okay, for example, germains, right? We just need to put the apostrophe s. And then we have possessive common noun. Okay, for example, like teachers, right? And of course, we have the possessive pronouns. Okay, for possessive pronouns, of course, the example would be like my, our, his, and others. Okay, so those are the possessive forms, right? As you can see, our is one of the determiner. That is a possessive pronoun. Okay, now let's talk about that. What do I mean when I say that it's not really, it can be used not as an adjective but as a noun? Okay, let's talk about this one. Poor is actually originally an adjective, right? The poor girl. I met the poor girl. However, right, this is a very common sentence here. Okay, the poor are helped, right? And as you can see here, I even used the plural form of the verb are because the, okay, the article the plus the word poor, the adjective for, it will automatically become a noun, which is the subject of the sentence. Remember that adjectives cannot be subjects of the sentence. Okay, so it's like you're saying like the poor people are helped, right? That's why if we're gonna add like the or a determiner to an adjective and make it as a subject or act as a noun in the sentence, we have to use the plural form of the verb. So in this case, right, it's okay to actually like use creamier to describe our creamiest because it doesn't really act as an adjective there. As you can see, adjectives cannot really have like a determiner. Okay, I mean like only adjective. If there's a noun here, it's okay. Our creamiest product, it's okay. But if there's no noun there and then just determiner plus adjective, it will be used as a noun. So it's okay. We can actually like modify that, okay, by using the adjective creamier. Now the second one is actually like the superlative degree is used, therefore the comparative degree cannot be used anymore. Okay? Now, they say that it's really like a downgrade. Okay, but let's talk about that. Okay? Mm, let's analyze the sentence. Are creamiest. Okay, so it means that now, as you can see, right, although they use ngayon, right, in the original sentence, okay, the Tagalog version, since it's a Filipino product, right? So it means that they are comparing like something or a product now and a product in the past. So let's talk about that, right? So our creamiest product, okay, let's have the imaginary product here, okay? Their creamiest product in the past, that was their creamiest, right? But now, right, that is even creamier, right? So it's not really a downgrade, okay? Because in the past, that was their creamiest already, but they they just want to say that now it's even better. Okay, now the question is it really possible that a superlative degree is actually like I mean like a superlative degree can be like modified still, right? Originally the rule is if it's in the superlative degree anymore, it's really the highest form. However, if we're gonna compare that in the past, okay, and then in the other time, it would be okay. What do I mean? For example, for example, my richest student, okay? Or my poorest student, for example. My poorest student, okay, uh, is now rich, right? So I just compare that. In the past, he was the poorest, but now he's rich. Let's make it like let's make it like this one. My richest student, okay? So in the past, my student was very rich already, right? But now is now richer. We can even put like even, okay, to emphasize that in the past he was the richest among my students, but now he's even richest, okay, than before. So we're not really like focusing on like comparing it to other students, but to itself, its previous self, who was the richest before among other students, to the person now, okay, to the same person which is richer now. The same thing here, right? We are talking about the same product. That product was already the creamiest among all the products. I mean, the coffee products in the Philippines, for example, right? But this is not really an advertisement or something. Okay, so yeah, it's not really like that. Okay, so among all the products in the past, it was the creamiest already, right? But in the past, it was already the creamiest. So for the past thing, it's now even better, right? That creamiest thing, they made it even better now. So it's not really a downgrade. They just compared their product, which was the creamiest among all the products or the coffee products before, right? And then now it even became better. Or now it even becomes better per se. Okay? So that's the thing. So that is not actually grammatically wrong. Okay, so I hope it helps, and I'm gonna try to make the video even clearer next time. I actually like need to make some reports for my students still. So if you have some questions, feel free to like um send me a private message or better comment so I can answer that. Okay, and you can also like ask me like to discuss some of the topics that you want to talk about. And the moment I'm free, like right now, I've just finished with my lesson, I'm gonna try to answer them. Have a good night. Okay, by the way, okay, if you have time, yeah, just try to follow my grammar page and you can ask grammar questions or there are videos there. You can check and there are some explanations as well there. So have a good night, everyone. Bye.